What do you picture when I say Indian woman from a small town in Bihar? Probably not this. A woman who led 144 men in the Republic Day parade, who helped raise India's first attack helicopter unit, who commanded troops during a national crisis, and now inspires thousands through discipline, fitness, and fearlessness. This is Unstereotype, where we break boxes. Today's guest is Major Anita Rathore, a proud Indian Army veteran. She shattered every rule written for girls from her hometown, becoming the first to wear the uniform. In 12 years of service, she secured high-risk zones, led with purpose, and showed what true leadership looks like. After the uniform, she stepped into the corporate world and never stopped leading. She's not here because she left the army. She's here because she never stopped being one. Let's talk about discipline, identity, and rewriting what women can be. Welcome to our show Unstereotype. It's really an honor to have you with us on the show today. And from being a first girl in your district to join the Indian Armed Forces to leading men on Republic Day, your journey is not just courageous. It's groundbreaking, and it's exactly the kind of story we'd love to spotlight on our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for choosing me and giving me a platform where I reach the youth of this country and speak about my journey. Thank you.
Anita, your journey is so inspiring. So, for those who may not know about it yet, could you just tell us how it all started? Like, what made a girl from Bihar, choose the Indian Army?
So, actually, it all started with disparity. Whilst growing up, I saw a lot of differences in the upbringing of boys and girls, including my own household, and definitely in the area where I was growing up. So I thought that boys are more respected just because they are going to earn, just because they are going to bring money to the thing, or maybe they bring some name or fame as well. So I thought that, okay, fine. If that's the thing, let me do something which no one can even think about. And maybe that's the way I'll be able to, control at least my life. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make my decisions myself. I wanted to grow and live on my own terms. I never wanted that till the time I'm not married, my father is controlling me, and when I get married, it's my husband. So that was the very vague idea behind it. But then when I kept on growing and I realized that it's so empowering to, follow your own journey, even when you are alone. I mean, I like in school as well, or maybe in college, or when I was working. So that is something which kept on pushing me to do better, and that's how I landed up in army, because it started with showing to the world, but then I realized that's something my calling is. So that's how.
I think that's a great thought, and it's very important, for women to be independent. Every individual should be independent and live life on their terms. I completely agree with that. You were the first one from your district to join the Indian Armed Forces. So, what was the kind of resistance or the self-doubt that you had back then, and how did you deal with it?
See, I had a bit of clarity about it because my father was in the forces. But then the only thing was he was into the ranks. He was not an officer. He was into the ranks. So that's how I knew about army. And every time he used to come from office, I used to wear his shoes, and I used to just act like I'm the one who is serving in the army. But then I saw my cousins joining the same forces, but as the other ranks. So then I thought that nobody is thinking of becoming an officer. And then when I told them that I want to be one, they told me, oh, it's not that easy, It's not a cakewalk the way you are feeling. It's going to be tough. So my father told me that only 7 girls in India are being selected. Why do you think you will make it? I said, even if there are 3 girls who are going to make it, I'll be one of them. So that was today it might sound like fake confidence, but then because I used to work hard so much on myself that I was confident that do whatever, I will make it, So, yes, so that's how it was. And yes, there was sort of resistance, especially from the family members, because I was in 10th class and I remember I used to get these rishtas from wedding.
Oh.
So, every time I used to get something like that, I had to fight with them. I have to tell them that no, this is not what I want. And in fact, after 12th class, my parents told me that, try some stitching course or something like that so that you can earn
Yeah.
something for yourself. And I said, no, I just want you to help me in doing my graduation. Just let me finish my graduation. After that, I'll not ask for any sort of money for any education. I'll take care of it. So,
Yeah, I
look,
mean, yeah, I think, yeah, Indian parents don't like, really think that, women, in the army, it's such a like, tough job. And yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's very difficult for the family to understand, especially when it comes to girls.
Yes, but then this is what I tell you today also, that
Yeah,
if you have to choose your battles, choose them wisely. Don't fight
yeah,
for wearing a mini
yeah,
skirt, or don't fight for
yeah,
going out
yeah,
at 12 o'clock at night. Choose the right fight, which gives you a long term gain.
yeah,
Like if I did my graduation,
yes,
I had too many options open for me. So if I had to fight for something like that, which was very basic, it was so much worthy.
yeah,
If I would have fought for such
yeah,
silly things like, let me do this, let me go party, once you will start thinking in long run, the short term goals will automatically come. You don't need to, today, whatever I wear, nobody cares. Today, if I party at
yeah,
1, nobody cares. So, this is the point where I want to make that don't fight with your parents for every battle. Choose your battles wisely and fight for the ones which are actually worth fighting for.
honestly, very few people have that kind of clarity, especially when you were a teenager.
Yes, I
But
know.
you
But
had
then,
that clarity very early on in your life. So, most girls in small towns are, told to settle down by 18, but
very
you chose to command instead. How, like, did you even like had that kind of clarity, like so early on in your life?
I'll tell you, Deepti, what happened is, I don't know, but then how I was introduced to meditation at a very early age. Okay, and that I think that was something which was sort of life changing for me. So meditation is one thing. Second thing which I will say which was life changing was me being spiritual, because I
Okay.
sort of always felt that, wherever I used to have two paths and wherever I used to be like so confused that what should I do now, I used to sit down in meditation and just talk to myself. I think that is something which we are lacking today. We do not sit with ourselves. We do not sit with our thoughts. If we go
Yeah.
through a breakup or something, we don't sit with ourselves. What we do is we take
Yeah.
our phone and we scroll. So the thing is,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not able to digest what's going on here. So till the time you
Yeah.
are not able to digest what's going on here, you will never have that clarity in your own mind. So whatever
Yeah.
thoughts we have, negative, positive, neutral, confused, exciting,
Yeah.
we have to speak to our own thoughts. We have to,
Yeah.
self-realization is the thing. So I was a
Yeah.
very big follower of Swami Vivekanand, and I read a few books about
Oh.
him.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I
Okay.
know in 2025 this all sounds very old school, but then even if you do it today,
No, no, like I feel like now, like more people are getting into like, like it's like everybody's being like spiritual and like, so I think like people are getting back to their like, roots, like,
yeah, because
so
slowly and steadily we will realize that,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, we will realize that that's the path to reach to your own inner self.
you've led troops, handled crisis operations, and you even played a very pivotal role in India's first attack helicopter unit.
Yeah.
So, what was like? I mean, your experience like, and can you just like tell us more about it?
Okay. So see, India is going to have a long path. Okay, and we can always say
Okay.
that right now we are building our way towards that path. So if you see last year's export in defense, it is already, I think, in billions. So what I'm trying to tell you here
Yeah.
is that at least we have started this Make in India thing, and because we have started,
Yeah.
so definitely we are in middle somewhere, but the sky is the limit. So our DRDO, our own companies, now they are working with such good speed, and they are making such good, stealthy weapon system and everything that we saw in Op Sindoor, that how we were able to
Yeah. Yeah.
manage, and uh, we were able
Yeah.
we were able to perceive it so well, so that that's why our systems are going a long way now. So this was back in 2013 when I got posted to the ALH squadron, which was the first attack helicopter unit of the Indian Army, and I was the logistic officer there. So that was just not even the beginning. So right now we have already begun, and the first step taken is like the journey has already begun. So don't worry, you will see India growing next 10, 20 years. It will be somewhere else.
Yeah. But how do you feel achieving so much at such a early age in your life? You've achieved so much, and you were so disciplined, and into meditation and everything, and having that kind of clarity, and you were just on the right path always.
No, I think we all go through our own, deep holes, I would say.
Yeah.
So we all have those moments. I'll mention here, Deepti, when I became a mother.
Yeah.
That was like
Okay.
a life turning point. This thing for me, I used to think that I am not able to do anything. My body is not my control. I'm not able to sleep well at night. My baby was colic that time, so she used to cry whole night. So and what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not that even if you have everything in place, still you're going to fall into deep holes, and then you have to pull yourself again, and then you have to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that is going to happen again. And in fact, the time I decided to leave army, that was again for the motherhood journey I was going through, because I had my son, my second baby.
Yeah.
And then I thought that I'm not able to do justice to army. That was the reason I left, actually, because neither I was doing justice to motherhood nor I was doing justice to my profession. So I thought, okay, let's finish it off here and do justice to one role. So,
But do you ever feel the pressure also sometimes, because mentally you were just conceived as somebody who's strong, but as a woman, you just mentioned, you had a very rough time during your when you were having your first child.
I thought that if I have handled the army training, if I've handled the army, I can handle anything, and I can definitely do that. I have that outlook about life. But then,
Army training.
but then I went through so much of psychological changes, the body changes, the emotional changes after I became a mother. And why I'm talking about this at this platform is because women who are going through it, they should not feel that they are losing onto a lot. No, give yourself some time. Be kind to yourself. Like the way I choose myself at that time, I could have just, dragged my job and everything else along. But then I thought, no, I deserve better as a professional. So I thought that, okay, if I am good, I will make a career for myself, not in this, maybe in something else. So that's how I felt. And yes, there is a lot of pressure. But then we need to understand that it takes a lot of people to raise one child. It's not easy for just one mother to do it all alone. That saying of raising takes a village is actually true. So we realize it when we go through it. But then I think we need to be more supportive towards our daughter-in-laws, daughters, and our sisters. To raise, especially, that's the reason that today people don't want kids, because they know things are going to stop. So we need to be a little more kinder towards women.
You were just talking about that, it's never too late to start all over again. So coming to that, from commanding troops to creating content online, that's a shift most people would not just expect. So what made you want to share your voice online?
Yes, because actually, what pushed me is I do not find too many right examples online. That was the thing which motivated me. And then few kids whom I was teaching, so they used to share those videos with me, and they used to say, "Ma'am, you need to speak about it. Ma'am, if you will speak, everyone will listen." So I used to say that no, it's not possible for me to get into something which I'm not pro. Because till the time I was in the army, we were not allowed to have these social media accounts. So I did not have one. And then I decided after in 22 when I left, I thought, okay, fine, because everybody was like, "Ma'am, you should give it a try. You should give it a try." And then I tried it, and then I thought, okay. So and I still see people, messaging me that, "Ma'am, the kind of content you have, it should reach masses. I said, okay, slow and steady. Let's trust the process. Whatever I'm supposed to gain, I'll gain it. So that's how I'm working towards it. And yes, it was. I still don't know editing. I still don't know how to do the cuts and everything
Okay.
else. So, but it's as I said, everything is a process, and I'm still learning it. So never mind. Let's see.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I'm sure you will So what was like the hardest part about leaving the army and starting all over again like in the corporate world
See,
for you?
it's I never have this tough word in my dictionary. I never had as a child also, and I
Oh.
never have it right now because see, I left and I did a professional course with IIM Kolkata for a year. After finishing that course, I joined the Polo Tires. I worked as their transportation head pan India. After that, I had the chance to work in women's IPL with RCB team. So I was their security head, and
Okay.
I worked with them. I met the players, the kind of boost women cricket is getting right now. That was again
Yeah.
good exposure for me. So met a lot of personalities there, and I mean, as a child, I used to watch Saurav Ganguly and all these people in the TV, and then I met them personally. So it was different. So I will not say life has been tough in any way. In fact, I get to choose what I want to do. So I like that thing about leaving army, that I can choose the projects which I want to do. So that's how it's
You
going.
come across such a optimistic person and so motivating and for all the young girls out there and like for people in general. And you have a great outlook towards life. Tough is the way you just say it. Like tough is not just a word in my dictionary. You mentor defense aspirants and you often talk about emotional resilience also. What is one lesson you believe that every person learn, whether a person irrespective of their profession, like whether they are in the army or not?
Okay, one thing which we need to do more these days is listen to the person in front of you. All we want to do
Yeah.
is, we just want to say
Mm.
our thing. We just want to,
Yeah.
blabber what's there. It's there in our head. But then, if you will never listen to the person's outlook, how will you have,
Yeah.
a two-way conversation, as well as how will you grow? So that's how your ideas grow when you listen to someone. And in fact, I still listen to people. I mean, if I want information
Yeah.
about something, I have to go back to listening.
Yeah.
I cannot be
Yeah.
this mindset that no, whatever I know is the truth, and now I don't need
Yeah.
any work on myself. So that's one lesson we need. Second is, let's be little more empathetic towards people. Just because we are on
Yeah.
our phones, we don't get to see that somebody is falling down. I will see people recording from their phone, but none of them will go and help.
None of them.
Yeah, so that's something wrong. We are moving towards
Yeah.
a very bad thing, I would say, like that. So there was a road accident which happened in Jaipur, where there were oil tankers
Okay.
which were bursted, and I saw people were running for water. And imagine, people have filmed those people and put it on social media. So rather than doing that, you should have taken a water
Yeah.
bottle, or you should have, done something to save that person who was running for water.
Person. Yeah.
So that's what we are missing as humans. And see,
Yeah.
as humans, empathy is our superpower. The day we lose it, yeah, I mean,
We
we
lose a
will.
sense of being human. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the essence. So let's not lose that thing. Let's keep that
Yeah.
thing alive. And phones were meant to keep you engaged all the time. And if you
Yeah.
are actually losing it to the phones, no, we need
Yeah.
to, we need to be a little more conscious
It's the
about.
major reason that people are losing like focus and attention because now everybody's just used to seeing like short form of content or something, so they've like very short span of focus. They cannot especially with the kids these days.
The reason at my home, my daughter is 7, my son is 4, still they do not touch phones. We have not introduced
Wow.
them to phones.
Lovely.
We have told them that the phones are for parents because they have few work. The only thing you can watch is you can watch your TV, that too for an hour, okay, and maybe on some occasions it can go till 1.5 hours, but not more than that. They have to go, they have to play, they have to run, they have to live a normal childhood.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course, of course. If we want to use the phone or something, we want to play games.
Yeah, but then
I'm
there
sure
are
they're not happy about it.
yeah. See, I tell them that your brain will stop working if you start using phone at such a
Yeah,
young age. I never force things on them. The thing is, I always explain them the science behind that. That why you cannot do this
yeah,
right now. Why you cannot do this. I tell them that once you are like 20 or 21, you will have your phone off,
yeah,
and you can keep using as much as you want because that time you will be grown up and you can decide for yourself. But right now, because you are a child, and as a parent,
yeah,
it's my duty to tell you that how much you're supposed to,
yeah,
take on whatever you are taking in. So, uh, I think
yeah,
we have to play a role here as a parent.
yeah.
Because
No,
if
because
you,
it's like downright. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, because if
No,
you
no, no. Please,
see
please. Yeah,
Steve Jobs and everyone, they will say they do not have,
yeah,
computers at their own home. Mark Zuckerberg will say that we do not use phones.
yeah.
So they will not do that for their family, but then they will make sure that
But yeah.
thousands and thousands of families are affected by it.
And it's like downright crazy also, to see like, the children know even how to operate phone. Like at a like, when we were 7, like we didn't even have phones or anything. Like, I mean, it's nowadays like you see kids, they're so like, apt at it, like they're so good at it. They know everything, like, how to like they can operate like it, like, so well.
And there is nothing to be proud about, if a child is doing that, eventually you learned it as a 30 year old. I mean, I was around like 22 or 21
Yeah,
because I had just joined army and the phones came in, the smartphones. So if
yeah.
I can learn it at 22, they can also learn it at 21 as well. But let me tell you, you don't need to wait till 21. They know how to operate it, even when I'm not giving it to
Yeah.
them.
What is that one advice you want to give to young girls who feel torn between like societal pressure and like personal ambition, especially from girls who come from like smaller towns, what like yours?
And so, see, first of all, you do not need to limit your dream. Dream big. Just because you do not have the conditions at home, or maybe you do not have that perfect life what your friends have or something. So don't feel that you have to limit your dream. No, that's something which what
Yeah.
is your power. Dream as big as you want to, because
Yeah.
once your mind know it, your body will automatically follow. Your body will find a way to
Yes.
do that. So let your mind know this, that you are capable of doing things. Just because you grow up in a one house or 100 square feet area, it doesn't mean that you cannot dream big. So first of all, dream big. Okay, it has to be
Yeah.
without any limit. If your father is even pulling a rickshaw and he's working as a peon, you can dream of becoming someone, higher. So that is one thing. Second thing is, trust yourself. We all go through these, circles of doubt where we keep questioning ourselves. I still question myself. Is this content creation thing is for me sometimes? But then I have to tell myself that why did I start it? Okay, so then I have to remind
Yeah.
myself my motive was something else. So that's what you have to do. Even if you're going through self doubt, remind yourself that your aim is something what you want. So we all go through that self
Yeah.
doubt thing. Third, as I told you, choose your battles wisely. Okay, at the teenage, do not think that everything is a battle. At that time, you should not be fighting with your parents for having a boyfriend or going for a night out or
Yeah.
for something like that. So choose your battles
Yeah.
wisely and choose those battles which are beneficial for you in a long run. Do not look at short term goals, because eventually you will
Yeah.
get married, eventually you will get everything what you are running after. And trust me, it will be only worthy when you are something. So become that something
Of course.
first of all, and then chase everything else. So I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Anita, for being on the show. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. You've such a positive outlook towards life, and you're so motivational, and you've such a positive mindset.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you so much for just sharing all the powerful lessons with us today.
Thank you so much, Deepti. It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. From the parade grounds to motherhood, and now to creating content online, Major Anita's journey reminds us that real strength isn't about never falling. It's about finding the will to rise again and again, no matter where you are in life. If her journey inspired you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if there's someone who needs to hear this today, don't hesitate to pass it on. Keep growing, keep choosing purpose, and as always, keep breaking the mold. This is Deepti signing off. Watch Famous TV for more such conversations.